Hello Year 7 and welcome to the online lesson 5 for you to complete at home on paper. And what we are learning about today is the life processes topic. So we've looked at cells and we've looked at healthy diet, and now we're going to look at how our body actually breaks down food. So the learning question there, how do we break down our food? And the do it now question. I'd like you to draw your mind map, okay, and think about what words we would include that you know play a part in digestion. Some clues in the pictures just there. He's chewing, so that definitely plays a part. What else do you know plays a part in digestion? Pause the video and draw this mind map. So, around your mind map with digestion in the middle, you should have chewing. Okay, you can divide these into two. You can divide them into mechanical and chemical. So mechanical would include chewing and the movement of food through the gut. Okay, so churning in the stomach, when your stomach churns, that's another mechanical form of digestion. Okay. The chemical ones, what do you think is in your stomach? Okay, so in your stomach, you've got stomach acid, HCl, hydrochloric acid. Okay, so under chemical, you're going to have your stomach acid. There's also special chemicals in your saliva. So under chemical digestion, you can have saliva. And there is something, so we could eat upside down if we wanted to. In the neck, in the esophagus, which goes down to the stomach, the muscles contract and pull the food down. And this is a mechanism called peristalsis. This is another mechanical digestion, okay, another form of mechanical digestion. These ideas should be around your mind map. If you want to, you can also add that when you chew up here, when you've chewed your food into a nice little ball, it's called a bolus, B-O-L-U-S, okay? And that's what it's called when the food goes down. How we're going to learn today will be done through a drawing and labelling exercise, some key definitions, so some red boxes. Unfortunately, we won't be able to do the practical, but we will be able to do some class lessons, and we will be able to watch a little video. Then there's a gold or silver task and an exit ticket. Right, so when you eat or chew a biscuit, you would mechanically crunch it in your mouth, okay? So in your mouth, mechanical digestion begins, and you are chewing it and making it an easier shape to swallow. It becomes into like a little round ball called a bolus, okay? And in addition to this, because it's a carbohydrate, the saliva in your mouth contains an enzyme called amylase, which helps to break down the carbohydrate. Okay, so there it becomes much easier to swallow, and it's a bolus. As I said, it goes from the mouth, which is the first part of digestion, into the esophagus, down towards the stomach. Okay, here's a key definition for you to copy. What I'd like you to do is copy the red box onto your piece of paper and be ready to sketch. If you don't have time, pause the video, otherwise move along with me. So here, draw this man, okay? And there are some key parts just there, and I'd like you to go ahead, draw it, and try and label the ones you know. You might know the names of some of these things. I've said some of them already, okay? You've got time to sketch it, make it your own, and then we'll go through what everything is called. If you want to do a bit of research and actually find it, look it up, go and look on your phone or look in a book, that's absolutely fine. Or some of these you might know already. So for instance, you're going to know the mouth. And another word I've said, and something that feels very full when you've eaten. You're going to know some of these already, okay? Pause the video if you haven't yet finished your drawing. Here are the spellings and the key parts that we need to know that play a part in digestion. Okay, so your sketch should reflect that food goes in and enters the body through the mouth. The salivary glands release saliva, which is a chemical reaction. The mouth and teeth chew, which is a physical reaction. Then the esophagus has some muscles around it. They perform peristalsis, which is like a small pushing, okay, like a pushing, and pushes the food down towards the stomach. In the stomach, there's churning, which is again physical, and there is hydrochloric acid, stomach acid, which is a chemical reaction. Again, then peristalsis continues, and in the small intestine, so the small intestine is the first one, the longer one that's all in the middle there, and the food is pushed along, okay? Inside the intestine, there are little finger-like surface area so that it can absorb all the goodness into your blood, okay? So all of the vitamins and minerals and proteins and energy, all of those things can enter into your blood so you can use them in your day-to-day living, okay? So inside the small intestine is where all of the food is absorbed. And then later, after some time, the food passes into the large intestine and the water is removed so that the waste product can be ejected from the body. Your drawing should reflect this. We're now going to watch a video.
The average healthy human adult produces up to 1.5 liters of saliva every day. Saliva is produced in the mouth, where chemical and mechanical digestion begin. Let's learn more about chemical and mechanical digestion. Digestion is the process of turning food into its component chemicals. Once food is broken down into its essential building blocks, animals can absorb the calories, nutrients, vitamins, and minerals that allow the body to function, grow, and repair itself. Let's take a close look at human digestion. The first step in digestion is ingestion of food into the mouth. Inside the mouth, food is chewed by the teeth. This begins mechanical digestion. This process is the physical breakdown of large pieces of food into smaller pieces. After swallowing, muscular action of the stomach and intestines continues mechanical digestion. During mechanical digestion, food also undergoes chemical digestion. Various chemicals and enzymes break down complex molecules into smaller, simpler component molecules that can be absorbed into the bloodstream. Chemical digestion begins in the mouth. As food is chewed, salivary glands secrete amylase, which converts starch into maltose, a disaccharide. Enzymes and hydrochloric acid in the stomach continue chemical digestion. But chemical digestion mostly takes place in the small intestine. This begins in the duodenum, the first section of the small intestine. The pancreas secretes pancreatic juice into the duodenum. This strong digestive cocktail converts lipids, carbohydrates, proteins, and nucleic acids into smaller chemical compounds. Pancreatic juice is alkaline, which neutralizes the strong stomach acids. By the time food has left the duodenum, it has been reduced to its building blocks. The small intestine breaks down maltose into glucose, completing the chemical breakdown of carbohydrates. Nutrients and minerals are absorbed through the walls of the small intestine. The small intestine is lined with finger-like projections called villi. Each villus is connected to blood vessels that transport nutrients away. Undigested food is processed in the large intestine to be ejected as waste via the rectum. The dual processes of mechanical and chemical digestion ensure the efficient breakdown and absorption of food. The components of food are reduced to their molecular states to enable absorption into the bloodstream.
So, year 7, we've now labelled it, and I have explained, and the video has explained with some detail,
We know that digestion
the
involves
process.
chemical digestion, which is the use of enzymes.
Apologies about that video. So, we have explained the processes of chemical and mechanical digestion. Now what we're going to do is get some key definitions down. So mechanical digestion, copy the red box, is the process of physically breaking down food using your teeth or muscles in your gut, known as peristalsis. You can put in brackets there, churning in the stomach as well, because that's also physical. If you want to, pause the video so you have time to copy that. If not, move on with me and write chemical digestion. Chemical digestion is the process of chemically breaking down food using stomach acid, which is, in brackets you could put capital H, capital C, small l, HCl, hydrochloric acid, and enzymes. Okay, these are the 2 types of digestion that you need. And you can do this Kit Kat challenge at home. You could use a different type of biscuit if you like. Okay. When the carbohydrates in your Kit Kat are broken down sweeter and broken down, you will start to notice that the food slightly changes taste. I'd say it's better to do this with a piece of pasta. That if you held one piece of pasta into your mouth for a long time, don't bite it. It has to be cooked pasta. Don't bite it, but just let your enzymes break it down. You'll notice that the pasta starts to go really soft and easier to absorb, and then you would notice a taste change. So you could try that with a piece of pasta or a Kit Kat if you'd like. Now, this is the hinge question, which will determine which task you're going to do next. There are 2 main forms of mechanical digestion. Could you choose A, B, or C as to determine which you think they are? Okay, so well done. If you got that chewing and peristalsis, i.e. the squeezing of the muscles in the small intestine, if you got that, you need to do the gold task on the next sheet, and if not, you do the silver task with me. So here's your task, okay? The silver is a copy and complete with the missing words underneath. The gold is just there, okay? There's 3 places where mechanical digestion takes place, okay? Explain it. You may wish to go into some further detail. You may also want to do some research and do a little mind map about enzymes. Okay. Pause the video while you do this task. We're going to go through the silver task all together, as that will help you if you completed the gold task. Mechanical digestion begins in the mouth. This is where the teeth and tongue work together to physically break down food particles by chewing. The next stage of mechanical digestion is in the stomach. The walls of the stomach are strong. This helps to churn and mix the food and break it down even more. The last stage is the peristalsis. Here the muscle walls contract to move food along, and this is what it's called. Okay, so the mechanical digestion we've just been through takes place in the mouth, stomach, and intestines through peristalsis. Where do you think the most mechanical digestion happens? So where is it broken down the most? The largest particles are broken down into small ones in the mouth, okay? So a whole piece of food is broken down. However, if you're breaking it down to its component parts, to its individual sugars and enzymes, the enzymes break this down in the small intestine. Explain what peristalsis is. So peristalsis is where the muscles contract to push the food along. okay? And it's like a squeezing. You could describe it as it's like the food being squeezed, the muscles being squeezed. The final task that I have for you to do today, okay, the final task is the exit ticket. So pause the video, please answer in full sentences. So answer these in full sentences and we will go through them. Okay, the first place where mechanical digestion takes place is in the mouth. The feature of the stomach that helps it to churn and mix the food is the muscles. The stomach muscles contract and churn and mix the food. The action of crushing the biscuit, so this would have been a practical that you do, but crushing the biscuit represents chewing, okay? And then you would put it into some acid, which represents the stomach, and then you would put it into a pair of tights and you try and squeeze it, which would represent the peristalsis in the small intestine. The other type of digestion, aside from mechanical, is called chemical digestion. So that would have been your answer to number 4. The name for the muscle action moving food along your digestive system is called peristalsis. Okay? Give yourself a mark after 5. If you weren't sure, you can go back and watch the YouTube video again. Well done, Year 7, and thank you for completing another online lesson.